What's going on, guys? Another video, more 40k, more Warhammer stuff, and as you can tell by the title, we are going to be talking about the Dark Imperium Trilogy. This is a book series, Warhammer 40k book series. It's some of the I'm not just better stuff, but some of the really great stuff from the modern, the contemporary Warhammer 40k lore type stuff. I actually have the trilogy right here with me, all 3 books. I just finished the 3rd book, Godblight, yesterday. It was fantastic. Quick shameless plug here for those people who want to read more Warhammer 40k stuff, but you just kind of you don't know where to find it. Barnes & Noble's Warhammer 40,000 selection these days is kind of crappy. You can always order off Amazon, which I sometimes do. You can find your local comic hobby store that sells them, which I also sometimes do. In fact, today I just went and picked up Warden of the Blade, which I'm going to start reading here pretty soon. The other option you have is Audible. For those of you who've never tried Audible, I'm not sponsored by Audible. They're not paying me anything to say this. I get nothing for saying this, but I love Audible and I think it's a great deal. Especially if you are a busy person, you want to read books, you want to get these stories and absorb the content, but you just don't have the time. I have found that driving in the car and at the gym are the 2 best times I make the most use of Audible. It's a great deal. It's $14 and some change, I believe, rounded up to $15 a month. It's your average streaming service subscription these days. But it comes with, already on Audible, there is just a ton of free content that you can listen to without paying any extra money besides the subscription. If you do want to buy books, if there's something on there that you want to listen to and it's not free, you have to pay extra money to unlock it, to purchase it digitally through Audible and have the audiobook in your library. But they also kind of mitigate this, because that can get expensive. Once a month, every month when your subscription renews, you get a free credit. That's Audible's unit of currency, credits. They call it credits. Credits are used to buy audiobooks on Audible. You can use your credit. Usually each audiobook only costs 1 credit, and they give you a free credit once a month. So that means not only are you getting all of the free content for the $15 subscription, once a month they let you pick out a free audiobook to have. And basically every single Warhammer 40k novel you can possibly imagine they're all on there. That's what made me get it in the first place, is all 40k novels are on there. If it wasn't for Audible, I probably would not have finished this by now. I'd probably still be somewhere in book 2. But like I said, driving in the car, at the gym, I can throw my headphones in, turn on Audible, and I can absorb this awesome Warhammer 40,000 content, which is great. So I highly recommend Audible for people who want to, even if you just want to read, it doesn't have to be for Warhammer 40,000. If you just want to absorb stories, Audible is great. But anyway, back to Warhammer 40,000 Dark Imperium. This takes place about approximately 12 years after Rabute Gilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, the 13th Legion, has, not only has he returned, he had the Terran Crusade where he was just trying to fucking beeline towards Terra to go talk to his daddy on the Golden Throne. He got there, he talked to daddy, and then he started planning the Indomitus Crusade. And this trilogy takes place about 12 years into the Indomitus Crusade, which is, for those of you who don't know, in modern contemporary Warhammer 40k lore, Abaddon the Despoiler, the War Master of Chaos Undivided, the central Chaos Big Bad, he succeeded in destroying Cadia, destroying the Black Pylons, which were containing the Eye of Terror, and now there's this giant warp rift that basically divides the Imperium of Man. You've got, I think it's called Imperium Segmentus or some shit. The portion of the Imperium that Gilliman was already in when he came back, and the Terra is already in, that has now been secured, basically. The last battle of it to secure it is in these books with, Dark Imperium, the Plague Wars, in Ultramar. It wraps that up, and then across the other side of the Warp Rift is what's called Imperium Nihilus, and that place is in a fucking shit state right now, because they've got little to no contact with Terra and the main Imperium government, and not only that, but like it's like, oh yeah, there's a Primarch back leading the Imperium, and arguably it's the best Primarch to be leading the Imperium. I mean, like, Roboute Guilliman is the ultimate planner, administrator, strategist, tactician, like, he's the best at all that kind of shit. Is he the best warrior, like, fighter out of all the Primarchs? No. Is he a fantastic fucking warrior and fighter? Absolutely. Like, in this book, in these books, he's slaying demons and greater demons of Nurgle and all the time. He's just kicking the shit out of, like, if you're not a Primarch, he's kicking the shit out of you. That's essentially how it goes. But as Primarchs stack up to one another, Roboute Guilliman is not the best fighter, but that's not his shtick. He is the planner, the administrator, the strategist. He can run an empire like a motherfucker. That's Roboute Guilliman's thing. And he's running the Imperium now. He is the Imperial regent. He's the Lord. He's the head honcho guy now. So let's get into it. What did I like about this trilogy? Well, it starts off, like I said, he's 12 years in. He is pretty much wrapped up this first portion of the Indomitus Crusade to kind of get the Imperium back on track after the Great Rift happened. His half of the Imperium that he's already on, it's looking good. There's only one last real thing that he's got to wrap up, and that is Mortarion, his evil traitor Primarch brother of the Death Guard Legion, who turned to chaos and became a demon Primarch. He is waging a war on Guilliman's home empire, sub-empire, area of space known as Ultramar. And he's infecting all the worlds with plague and nasty shit, and Guilliman has to go there and slap him the fuck around. So they go. This trilogy, without giving too much away, this trilogy, it centers on Guilliman is the main character, and that might turn a lot of people off. I understand this trilogy's been out for a while, but for those people, when I do videos about 40k, they're mainly for people who are not into 40k. I want to get people into Warhammer 40k. So this trilogy is great. For those of you who don't know much about 40k, or you know a little bit, you've probably heard a lot of people talk shit on the Ultramarines and on Roboute Guilliman. I want to let you know right now, not only is he the main character of this book, but he is super interesting. And he's written very well, and his chapters are very compelling. He is this demigod. He is this super genius, superhuman man. But he's still one man, and it's like the burden of saving humanity is on his shoulders, and you just feel bad for this dude. Like, 100%, I want to give Roboute Guilliman a hug. That dude fucking needs it. 100%. And you feel that when you read it. This writer, Guy Haley, who wrote the trilogy, he does a great job of making you kind of feel and sympathize for Guilliman. Like, damn, like, is he a superhuman? Is he a super genius superhuman? Yes, but it's still a lot of weight to be on one man's shoulders. And you just feel for the guy. And on top of that, it's not only is that weight and that pressure on Guilliman, this trilogy deals a lot with Guilliman having tensions with the Adeptus Ministorum, which is basically the church of the human, the church of the Imperium of Man, the human faction of Warhammer 40k. Guilliman is from a time period about like 9,000 years ago in the past where this takes place. And back then, he comes from a time where his father, the Emperor, they were all preaching this thing called the Imperial Truth, which is basically religion is bullshit, we need to get rid of it. And now he's in an Imperium of Man where not only is religion of the utmost importance, but it's a religion based around the worship of his father, the very man who did not want religion around. And Guilliman has to kind of come to terms with that. He would love to just abolish the Adeptus Ministorum, abolish the church, and go back to the old ways that his father taught. but he can't. It's far too ingrained into the Imperium, into mankind at this point. He can't just abolish it overnight. He has to make deals. He has to make compromises. And on top of that, and he does, and it pains him to do so. And sometimes with certain priests and whatnot, there's especially a priest character in here who is like, he's a little bit of a fuck, and I really kind of wish Gilliman would have like fucking pimp slapped him around sometimes. But at the same time, he did come through in the end. I'm trying not to give away too many spoilers for people who read it. This priest, his name's Frater Matthew. He did come through in the end, pretty significantly. So, but yeah, he has to deal with his conflictions about, he's from this time period where it was like, get rid of religion. Religion is a bunch of superstitious nonsense that holds humanity back. We gotta get rid of it. And now it's a major part of human society throughout the galaxy, throughout the Imperium. On top of that, events occur in this trilogy that make him start to question the legitimacy of the church and what they espouse and what they claim to be, you know, the worship of the Emperor. The Emperor is a god. Gilliman, he constantly reminds people, he's like, you all talk about the Emperor and what he is and what he's not. I'm the only one in motherfucking existence that ever knew the man and actually talked with him. I'll tell you right now, he's not. Is he immensely fucking powerful? Yes. But is he a god? No. And everyone's like, nah, he's a god. Shut up, Rabute, he's a god. No one wants to believe him. But Gilliman starts to ask himself, events occur throughout this trilogy that make Gilliman start to ask himself, okay, 10,000 years ago, when we were doing the Great Crusade and the Emperor was around and all my brothers were around, was the Emperor a god? No. Could that have changed? That's what he starts wondering. He's like, first he starts asking himself, like, what is a god? You know, what is a god, first of all? And then he starts asking himself, could my father, the Emperor, whether he always was a god is irrelevant. The question he starts asking himself is he one now? Has he, like, ascended to godhood? Is he a god now? And it kind of starts to hint that Gilliman might get on board with this worship of the Emperor thing, which I don't like. I hope that really doesn't happen. It's not played up too heavily. Like, they don't lean into it too heavily. It's just peppered in there enough. Gilliman contemplating these things and having these doubts and these thoughts. And it's peppered in there just enough to where it makes it interesting. But it's not, like, overdone to where you're like, oh, this dude's for sure going to become a religious zealot. You're not sure, and that's what's great about it. But that adds another element to you really sympathizing with him as a character, because it reminds you every time he has these inner thoughts about, like, his father and is his father a god now. There are times in this book where Gilliman turns to people to kind of, like, have a conversation with them and ask them for their advice based on their expertise. But you could tell this man is having some serious conflictions within himself, and he has no one on his level to discuss it with. He is alone. And it's just sad. But I will say this. The ending, the climactic ending of the third book, which is Godblight, is fucking fantastic. The implications, what goes down in this book. As you can tell by the cover, it's Gilliman versus Mortarion, his evil demon Primarch brother Mortarion. They finally meet in battle. They cross blades. Gilliman's wielding the sword of the Emperor. And what goes down is epic. And the implications it has for 40K as a whole is, not only is it just immense, but it's badass. It's bonkers. I cannot wait to see where they go with this. As we know by now, for those people who know Warhammer 40,000, they follow it, they keep up with it. The next big chapter of Warhammer 40K has been the Arcs of Omen and the return of the second Loyalist Primarch, Lionel Johnson. That's the real deal shit that's going on right now. So, hopefully, we get to see Gilliman and his brother reunite, and they kind of work together. We'll see if that happens. Gilliman does leave at the end of this book. Godblight. Gilliman leaves, and he heads across the rift. He says he's going across the rift to go to Imperium Nihilus and start getting that place in order. And as we found out now through Arcs of Omen, that is where Lionel Johnson is. So we're going to see how this goes down. Overall, guys, I know this is going to be one of my shorter videos, but that's because when I love something and I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about it, the video ends up being kind of shorter. I loved this trilogy. It was fucking fantastic. I highly recommend it to anybody. If you for newcomers coming into Warhammer 40k, I do think this would be a good place to start. However, prior to reading this trilogy, you would probably need to watch some like YouTube videos explaining a little bit about the universe, just so you have a little bit of a background. But other than that, I think this would be a great place for new people to start. But yeah, that's my take on the Dark Imperium Trilogy, Warhammer 40,000. Let me know what you guys think. Anybody else that's read this, leave some comments below, get a discussion started. If you like this video, please hit the like button. That really helps out my channel. If you want to help out my channel even further, check out some of my other videos and subscribe. But other than that, I'll talk to you guys later.